Bill Belichick is brought to you on a Patriots Monday by Catches Law Group, New England's injury pros, and the official law firm of the New England Patriots by Northeast Men's Health, the experts in men's sexual health, with offices in Dedham, Marlborough, Woburn, and Salem, New Hampshire. Visit northeastmenshealth.com. By the commercial banking team at Northeastern Savings Bank, and by Diesel Direct, the nation's largest asset-based mobile fueling company. And he joins us, as he always does, on the Harbor One Hotline. How are you, Bill?
Good. Greg, how are we doing?
Doing great. How was the...
Good. How you guys doing? How's your summer?
It's great. It's weird. We have unlimited vacation time now at work, which is probably something you'd be in favor of, right?
Yeah.
The way you kind of run things.
Where is Wiggy?
He took this day off,
Okay.
like his opportunity to interview you, and he took the day off. You know he's coaching Brockton High School football now.
Right.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Has he asked you for any tips or anything?
I mean, they're very fortunate to have someone with Wiggy's experience and expertise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no request for advice or anything yet?
I mean, I don't think he needs any advice.
So we're trying to figure out if he's not working, but he's still going to have practice. So I would assume no days off. He's probably still having practice today because they got started on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give players days off. You can't.
Oh,
I
all
mean,
right.
there's got to be time for recovery.
Yeah.
You can't go hard all the time. You got to rest, recover, and
Yeah.
be ready to hit peak performance. So.
Well, scary situation Saturday night with Isaiah Holden. Update on his condition, if you can, this morning.
Yeah, he flew back with us yesterday, and I thought it was a really impressive just watching the situation. The doctors, so Dr. Martin, Dr. Corrado, who's an emergency doctor, Jim Whalen. I mean, those guys were right on top of it, and I walked out there to see, and I don't know anything, but just watching them and the way they handled it all was, I think, fantastic. And so I talked to Isaiah yesterday, and he's, in good spirits, recovering, obviously, but so let's take a day today. But certainly seems a lot better today than it looked like, Saturday night, so that's a good thing. It's good for him to fly back with the team, everybody see him, and, he's got a lot of support here.
Matthew Slater said that your decision you were the one who was leading the charge to suspend that game, was I think the moment that he was most proud of you in his 16 years here. Was that an immediate thought when it came to your suggestion that game be suspended?
Well, when I just looked at the situation, there were a lot of things involved. I was definitely in favor of that, and Coach LaFleur, was great too, and very supportive. And talked to John Hussey, who was the referee. There was actually a substitute referee when he was in, so he wasn't in there in the fourth quarter. They kind of mixed the crew up a little bit, but he was in charge, and then so he came over, and Lee decided to suspend that, and they checked with myself, Coach LaFleur, and the players, and so on behalf of the players, Slate kind of said that he felt like that was the right thing to do, so that was the decision, and I think it was the right decision.
With regard to the decision to cancel joint practices with the Titans, what went into your thinking there?
Yeah, I just felt like for a number of reasons it's the best thing to do for the team, and talked to Robert, Jonathan about it, and we all collectively felt like that was the best thing to do. So there's a number of factors involved, but obviously the seriousness of the injury was part of it.
Bill, when it comes to the players talking about the decision to suspend the game, whether it was Slater or other guys, it does seem like they have such a big appreciation for you making that decision. In your years of coaching, have you seen a big shift in the way league-wide coaches or executives are dealing with player safety and making sure the guys on the field are taken care of, physically, emotionally, and mentally?
Well, again, Courtney, I'm only been with one team, so can't really speak to what's going on somewhere else. I do talk to other coaches, and other people in the league, whether it be league officials or general managers, people like that. Those discussions come up from time to time, either at meetings or informally, and yeah, certainly that's a big emphasis. Very important.
Bill, there's 20 days left till your first game. I'm curious, you made a change this week. How much of the next 20 days are structured? How many audibles will you call in the work that you want to get done before game one?
Well, from a time frame standpoint, I think things are pretty structured. From what we do at that time, that's up to us, and we'll try to do the things we feel like are most productive and help the team the most. But we know what we're doing this week, and headed to Tennessee on Thursday and playing the Titans, and then coming back, and the roster moves are required over the weekend, Monday to Tuesday, and then the players are off next weekend, kind of the bye weekend, if you will, and then we resume practice, get ready for Philadelphia. So that's all pretty straightforward. What we do at that time and what drills we work on and what we emphasize and all that, we have a lot to cover. We'll have to try to decide what we feel like is the most important and most beneficial and put our emphasis there.
Bill, Robert Kraft said in March that the organization had experimented with some things last season and they didn't work when it came to Mac Jones. How do you feel about Mac's progression so far in this Bill O'Brien-led offense?
Well, I think all the quarterbacks have made, I think the whole team has really made a lot of progress since we, started in the spring and OTAs and mini camp and then training camp. We're doing things a lot better than we did, and we still have a long way to go. That's everybody, and football's a team sport, so whatever one person does is affected by a lot of other people that he's around, and he affects a lot of people as well. So, it's always a process of timing, coming together, communication, execution, and those things are definitely improving. We saw that. It was a big week for us with the practice against the Packers. It really helped us, but we still have a lot of work to do. So, it's a process. We're getting there, but we're definitely not there yet.
You've coached a lot of quarterbacks over the years. Is he at where you would expect a quarterback would be heading into his third season?
Well, yeah, everybody's different. I've coached, a couple thousand players. They're all different. No two are the same. So, and again, you take it day by day, week by week, year by year, and try to continue to get better. That's true for all of us. I mean, I've been in the league a long time, and I take it day to day as well, and week to week, just try to see what is in front of me and how to address it, how to do the best I can with it. And I think that's what each player should do, and for the most part they do is things change a little bit from year to year or from week to week. They definitely change from week to week, and you have to make those adjustments. And but Mac's got a great routine. He works hard, trains hard, in here a lot, studies a lot of film, stays on top of things. So that quarterback room, Trace and Bailey and Mac, it's a hard-working group. They put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. I respect that.
You seem like you got a little heated with him last week, and he came out afterwards and put the onus on himself. Is that kind of what you want to see a player do?
Yeah, I don't think I put the heat on anybody. There's things that we need to correct and work out, and that's just coaching.
Has it impressed you to be able to see how he can go from his rookie season working with Josh to then Matt and Joe in the second season and now with Bill O'Brien, to be able to adapt to working with all those different guys, those different personalities?
Yeah, Mac's a pretty flexible guy. I mean, he's smart. He gets along well with everybody. I never would have thought that would be a problem. So, yeah, I don't see that as any kind of an issue.
You talked about the cuts being made after this week, Bill. What is the message that your coaches or yourself are giving the bubble guys, the guys that were like me at times in certain training camps where you're fighting for your life all the way through to the end of training camp? What will allow them to stand out to make this roster beyond making plays out on the field?
Well, I mean, I think, look, everybody's competing and doing the best they can, and that's really what they can do, is just put your best effort out there and control what you can control. There's some things players can control and some things they can't control. So I don't think it's really beneficial to get too caught up in things that's not that you can do anything about. Do what you can do, and take it from there.
That's what that's our job, is we just get caught up in all these things that we have nothing to do with. And we spend an awful lot of time on it, Bill, as you know. Speaking of that, we when it comes to the organization and to signing a free agent like DeAndre Hopkins, and then it comes down to writing that check, does that end up being your decision? Is that a group decision that is made with you and Robert and Jonathan? Like, take us inside that and how it goes.
Yeah, well, I'd say every situation's different. Some players come from within the organization that we do contracts with or extensions with. Other players come from outside the organization. So, we talk about, the big picture, what we have to work with, and then as specific portions of that become applicable, whether it's a certain contract or signing a player, releasing a player, trading for a player, and roster planning for the future. You have to look at that the consideration really is this year. We want to be competitive this year, but we're going to have a team next year. We have to be ready for that too. So, it's a combination of those things, and each situation is a little bit different. And the negotiations are a little bit different. You can do whatever you want to do, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. You have to work with the other parties that you're working with, and to try to find something that's that's agreeable to both sides. And that depends again on a lot of things. Of the player, the agent, the situation, money, opportunity, etc. And so evaluate each one individually and go through the process. And each process is different. Some are similar, but they're all unique in their own way.
Every year you guys lose guys and then get guys into the building, but losing someone like Devin McCourty, who you've spoken so highly about for so many years, he comes on our show all the time. How big of a hole was that, and how have you seen the team be able to fill that?
Right. Well, yeah. Devin, is a great player, person for us, teammate. He was epitomized everything you'd want as a coach, everything you'd want in a player. His unselfishness, his leadership, his playmaking. He did whatever we asked him to do. Return kickoffs, play corner, play safety, call defenses, play in the box, play in the deep part of the field. So it didn't matter what it was. He was always there, and he gave us great leadership off the field. But that's part of football. There's always a transition. Players don't play forever; they move on. And other players move in, and so I think we've gotten a lot of good leadership from players on our team that have, now have an opportunity for maybe a voice where his was the dominant one. Now there are other opportunities, and I think we've had really good leadership from a lot of guys on defense. Bentley's probably had a strong role when Devin was here, and his roles I would say definitely increased some. But that's natural for a middle linebacker or safety anyway. That's part of the position that those guys have. But we've had a lot of guys step up and give leadership, not just on defense, but on offense and in the kicking game as well. So we'll see how all that plays out. Again, that's not something that you can, as a coach, legislate or organize. It's it happens. You can create opportunities, but it happens kind of organically within the team as the team comes together and builds itself. Certain things emerge, and those aren't things you as a coach can control or want to control. You just have to let them happen. And so that's the process that's taking place.
When it comes to post-football media careers, who would you give a better grade to? Devin McCourty, Edelman, or Ninkovich?
You know what? I really don't spend that much time, But those guys are all smart players. They all have I think a good perspective on the game. They all have worked extremely hard. Devin was a first round choice, but to go from corner to safety early in his career, and to have the kind of career that he has. He worked awfully hard for it. Edelman, never played the positions in the NFL that he played in college, and Ninkovich was a half-a-year starter at Purdue, and then was with a couple teams. And he's another guy that really worked hard. So I have a lot of respect for those players because of their work ethic, the commitment that they put into the game, and certainly they have a lot of insight from their perspective of what they saw, what they did, and observing other players or other teams. So it's interesting to to see people like that develop, especially when you look back to where they were when I first knew them, first met them, to where they what they become. Guys like Brewski, you can throw guys like that in there too. Who I had at the beginning. He was here in '96 as a rookie. Guys like Rodney Harrison and Randy and guys like that were mid-career when they got here. So that was a little bit different. But to see guys grow like some of those the guys you mentioned have is pretty amazing. And I have a ton of respect for what their opinions and perspective is, and when they were here, and now that they're not here. But it's they've seen a lot. They've done a lot. They've worked very hard and learned a lot. So I don't know how you could not respect it.
Speaking of former players, Matt Light was on this show a little while ago saying
that must have been interesting. It always is.
Well, he was saying that he felt like it may be harder for you, and this is like an old, I do it, maybe you do. It's an old man thing to say because, you always think the younger generation is different. But he was saying he feels like it may be harder for you to coach today's player. Do you feel that at all?
Well, it's different. For the game's different. The rules are different. Practice and the way things are organized, the opportunities to practice and the types of practice and all those have all changed. They're the same for all the teams. So we all adapted our lives. I'm sure we're all doing things differently than we did 20 years ago, right? I mean, that's life. So I don't get too caught up in what it was or what it wasn't. Here's what we have to work with. This is what we have, today, this year, whatever the situation is, and how do we make the most of it? And you're always learning, and sometimes you converse with other people or observe other people, whether it's other sports or other teams in your sport, things that they're doing, and maybe they've found a better way of doing things that might work for you. You make some adjustments along the way, or you find out yourself that this isn't really, we're not getting out of this what we want to get out of it. How do we make it better and figure it out? So that's just part of life, though. I don't see it as a football thing. There's a lot of things that are different than they were 20 years ago when Matt came in the league, but 2000. So that's I don't really worry about that.
Football aside, there's been some good concerts here this summer. I know that you've talked in the past about how you don't usually do concerts, but you've taken in Bruce Springsteen before. Bruce is here this weekend. You'll be in Nashville. Were you able to go see?
Bad.
I know, that's a bummer. But did you go to any other concerts leading up to it this summer?
Yeah, saw a little bit of Taylor.
That's my guy.
We were wondering about that.
Yeah. That was about it.
Did you enjoy it?
Did you get rained out? Were you at that show?
That was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
She
killed it.
She's tough, man. She just stood out there and played right through it. And then they gave, what's his name, a hard time. Luke, because they pulled the plug on him. That was lightning. I understand that. When there's lightning in the area, we head off the field too. So I can't really. I think he could last through a rainstorm. He's a pretty tough guy. But Bruce. It's always when I was with the Giants, it was Bruce and Bon Jovi. I mean, you got the the two Jersey guys were like at the top, and they probably still are. But always great to see John, Bruce in action. Sure, bring a lot of energy. Get the whole place rocking. So, dancing in the dark.
I mean, so are you you consider yourself to officially be a Swiftie now?
Officially, I don't know about that, but I don't know what officially is.
Seems like Aaron Rodgers is.
Yeah. What does that mean? Like you have a sweatshirt or something?
You're gonna have a few.
Yeah.
Well, you can
Good
sing.
merch.
I think you can sing some of the lyrics. It's I don't know. I mean, they were selling rainwater for $70 a jar or something like that.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm definitely on the. You got to calm down.
Okay, he's a Swiftie.
That's pretty good. Like you got to calm down. That's
One of our best.
there's a lot of times when that's very appropriate.
Yes.
Just got to calm down.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, some talk in the offseason that you may have been interested in him. Was that accurate?
Yeah, well, I'm not really sure what you're referring to.
report from Craig Carton in New York that you guys had inquired
Yeah.
about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I personally couldn't speak to that. Look, there's a lot of conversations in the off season between our personnel people and other executives. So I mean, I don't know what he's really talking about. I personally